What's up, everybody? It's Jeffrey Lyles welcoming you to another edition of Lyles Movie Files. Joining me, as always, is the little brother Jayce. Bro Shot, how are you today?
Doing well. Wow. See, yeah. I see what you did there. But yeah, I'm doing good. It's another Wednesday. Getting ready to podcast, YouTube, Facebook stream, all the fun stuff. Let's get it.
All this stuff. So, I don't know if we saw this coming, but The Flash didn't do well at the box office. You and I both like the film, but I think it's a case of probably a little bit too far in the tooth now for this DC universe. And it had a really bad opening weekend where it was 70 million. It hit 75 million after its first full week in theaters, which is pretty low, all things considered, with all the good stuff.
So it's at 75 right now?
What's going on, man? What's that, bro?
So it's at 75 right now?
Well, it hit 75 million at some point, between now and last Thursday when it opened.
Okay.
Which is great.
No.
What happened?
What happened? James Gunn killed and told everybody he's killing the universe. Like, you can say everything else the greatest movie ever. I think that was overhyped. What's going on?
Blake, what's up?
Yeah, like
she's all day today.
Yeah,
diarrhea. What's going on?
Oh man. But I think it was just a matter of scenario where folks just like, oh well, if you guys aren't going to make it, we're used to our superhero genre stuffs being interconnected, and if you tell me, oh, I've killed it before I've killed it, then I don't have any reason to give you money for something that's dead. It's like, there's going to be a post-credit screen. You know what that's going to mean? Absolutely nothing. It's like, just like Chief said last time, it's like their post-credits mean nothing because they can't follow up. And you now have told me we 100% won't follow up on anything because we are killing this universe. And unless, of course, you guys go out and see it in stupid droves, which we have looked, if you've looked at any of them, most of the big blockbusters have not lived up to expectations this year. So coming up and saying that's your bar is like just saying we're not going to do it and just being like, yeah, it's probably not going to happen. So that's what killed it. That's what killed the DC universe's Flash, and you can chalk Aquaman up in that and Blue Beetle up in that one too.
Yeah, it was a really, really bad opening weekend where it did everything that the big blockbuster is not supposed to do. So I got the actual number. It was 61.2 million over the course of its 4-day domestic debut.
Okay. And that was with for some people a holiday weekend. Yeah. And a Monday off.
Which is not great. So I'm just looking around, and Gal Gadot kind of made a statement basically saying that I feel empowered. I don't have to do any more of this Wonder Woman stuff. I'm good. I'm straight. I'm fine. No problem. I'm good.
It sounds a little salty. Honestly, that doesn't sound like empowered. That's like, well, F it. That's really what it's like. But Gal can do. None of them could have done anything. It's like, truthfully, you couldn't have any of the stars promote that movie. There was you had a lot of controversy before this movie even got released. And then it's just like you had just things piled upon piles upon piles of. It's like you needed, I don't know, like Lord of the Rings, Return of the King kind of everybody expectation wanting to see this movie for it to succeed. And that just wasn't going to be the case on this. It's sad, but that just wasn't going to happen.
All right, so here's bad numbers. Here's even more. Warner Brothers' lowest non-pandemic DC EU opening was Harley Quinn, Birds of Prey, and it's not going to top, or it didn't top Black Adam's 67 million debut last October. And it keeps feeling like diminishing returns from each of the previous films. And I think it's because nobody cares. They were like, who cares? You said this thing didn't even matter. I'm good.
It's like you not understand.
Dwayne's texting us spoilers from Secret Invasion. I'm glad. All right, watch. All right, 86 from the 90 says, I think it would have been better if they didn't show who Bruce Wayne was at the end. You know what? That might have made sense, and I feel like that ending is kind of like it was cute, but I feel like that was definitely a problem because people were like, "What?" And I don't know about you, but in my screening, people were all excited. I'm like, y'all were never excited about this guy's Bruce Wayne. Stop thinking. And if they had just not shown him and left it up to our imaginations, kind of like an Inception ending, who is Bruce Wayne? We just see Flash's reaction. I'm like, what? I think that would have been all right.
That's a good point. I didn't think of that. I mean, because that would have at least given people like kind of the people who saw it the excitement to tell their word of mouth friends. It's like, oh yeah, it was good. That cliffhanger. I don't know who they're gonna have, but I mean, I think I know whose voice that was. So I'm gonna go see it. You should go see it. But when you tell somebody, because when you tell somebody that I know 100%, like just like any other spoiler, it's like that one kind of is like, yeah, okay, they don't know what the heck they're doing. All right, it's trash. Go, keep it moving.
Blake goes, I'll give Gunn a chance when he starts rolling out the new DC, but I haven't liked the superhero movie since Endgame. Is Guardians 3 good? I do want to see that. Blake, I have to tell you, man, there are so many movies in Phase 4 and the start of Phase 5 that I've been it's been very up and down for me, where it's like, can you do that? Can you do that? Rolling with homies. Anyway, they've been very up and down. The Phase 4 shows have been up and down too, but Guardians Volume 3 was really good. I think the movies, I like Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness, Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. Wakanda Forever gets a little bit of an asterisk because it's like, oh, all the feelings that came from watching that movie. And it's like, oh man, I felt cathartic watching that. I don't know if it's like a great comic book movie. Certainly not in the same realm as the first one, but I felt like based on what they were doing, it was really good. But Guardians felt like the best superhero movie since No Way Home. I really like No Way Home and Far From Home, the two Spider-Man following Endgame, but I thought those were really good. Endgame, of course, had all that great build-up, and I think that's where the Marvel Cinematic Universe is missing. It's lacking that, oh man, I'm so hyped and so excited about this. No one cares about the multiverse, and I think that is what's continuing to be a problem. It's like, how do we work in the Fantastic Four? How do we work in the Avengers, in the X-Men? No one cares. Just bring them on screen. Say, look, Fantastic Four here. Don't make a big deal out of it. Maybe we don't even need the origin because we don't need to repeat their origin all over again. Maybe they're just all the rage. We do like an old school Marvel comic book where we see Falcon or Captain America reading the paper, watching a news clip of this 4 adventurers that have come back after a space shuttle mission. Maybe on a Disney Plus TV show, we hear about this Richard's expedition going into space, and that's all we hear. And then we start the movie with them coming back, and oh my gosh, what have happened to us? I feel like we've missed that excitement that, oh man, this is going to lead to this thing, and this is going to lead to that. They haven't had that in a long time. But Guardians 3 was awesome, highly, highly recommended, really good. It felt like a Phase 1 through 3 Marvel Studios film. What do you think?
I think, Blake, if that's one you're gonna want to see. I mean, it's just totally, it's just something you want to see. We'll see.
Like Jayce and I argued about Peacemaker. I didn't really love Peacemaker. Jayce thought it was fine, but I really was worried about Gunn taking over DC with Peter Safran because I was like, if his whole DC is like Peacemaker, I'm gonna be out. But yeah. I really love Guardians. Had lots of heart. Go ahead.
Guardians is 100%. It's very like if you love Guardians 1 and 2, this one is not a drop off. Like I think some of the other stuff. Whoa.
Captain O.G. Read more. J. King, what's going on?
I think if you love Guardians, you're not gonna have a problem. You go ahead and spend that money for it.
Yeah, it's well worth it. I mean, I understand all the hesitancy about all these other Marvel films, but Guardians was excellent. J. King, have you seen it?
I have.
All right. Help Blake here. Blake needs some more convincing that Guardians Volume 3 was good.
Well, hello, Blake. Guardians, if you've seen 1 and 2, you can't miss with 3. In all honesty, this is the best to me. This is the best of the Marvel Cinematic Universe series franchise, of their individual franchises. This is the best one because it's got a little bit of everything. You can walk into this movie, any one of the movies, having not only having not seen one, but having known nothing about the characters, and it's right at home because it's just entertaining. They're
That's
just
a good
entertaining
point.
movies.
I won't fight you though, because I mean, Captain America's that's my trilogy of the MCU. But Guardians
Dude,
is right there with
and Jeff, look, Cap became my favorite because to me, I think it's had the most solid of the movies, right?
me. Hmm.
When you're talking about going from the first Cap, which to me is one of the best, right?
Hmm.
There's Iron Man one, there's the first Cap, and people are always surprised when I don't put Black Panther in my top three Marvels. It's like, look, those two movies, and I really want to put Guardians one there. I have to. They're just so solid. They're so solid, and you don't have to know anything about the characters. You don't have to know anything. You can come in here novice and feel right at home.
You
They
know,
tell such great stories. Mhm.
you make a good point. It's like I think Guardians is actually one of the out of the Marvel trilogies. That's the one you could actually not have. You could each person could jump in, not seeing a previous one, and actually pick right up. That's a good point. I thought that.
Yeah, you can't do
Yeah,
that with the half films.
Mm-mm.
All right.
no.
Blaze says,
If you
thanks for
come
the
in,
recommendation. I forgot I did like No Way Home. I did like Peacemaker solely for the absurdist comedy. I feel like I'm definitely in the minority. I think a lot of people love Peacemaker, and I own up to it because I'm like, what is this foolishness? But I'm too attached to those DC characters from the comic books. I'm like, what are you doing to Peacemaker? What are you doing to Vigilante? So I totally get why people liked it, but I was just too comic book. I think since no one knew the character, they did whatever they wanted. They definitely did. 80s kids from the 90s says, I'm looking forward to Legacy. I think Superman Legacy is going to be good. I feel like after Guardians Volume 3, I'm like, James, what do you got, dude? Bring it on. I want to see it. Digital Diarrhea said, only comic book fans would care about The Flash, but anyone would care about Batman. And I feel like that is such a bad problem for DC because they've got better characters than Marvel. They've got the iconic ones where people who don't even know these characters, they couldn't tell you who Wally West is, couldn't tell you who Barry Allen, couldn't tell you who Jay Garrick is. You're like, who's the Flash? They'd be like, I don't know, D, none of the above. But they could tell you what the Flash is. Flash wears a red outfit. He's got some lightning. He's wearing red and yellow, but they didn't know anything about him. Same deal, Green Lantern. That's the guy with the ring, right? Yep, he's the one with the ring. Is Guy
Mhm.
Gardner one? No. Is Jon Stewart? You mean the talk show host? They don't know that stuff, but they've got the iconic name, mainstream name recognition that Marvel characters don't have. Before Guardians, people were going Rocket Raccoon. What? That sounds stupid. A talking tree? Come on. We're not watching that movie. Now people are like crying in the theaters over a stupid raccoon. That's power what Marvel Studios does when they're at their best, and what DC just fails to do because they continue to revamp their freaking universe, their comic book universe, every chance they get. Where it's like, oh, we're gonna get more people if we press the reset button and do it all over again. That's
Okay.
their biggest mistake, and that's where
All
you
right.
always.
Well, let me say this. Like you say that DC has a problem, but I think on that's what I was about to say. Like exactly. Like the Arrowverse should have been there. We see how to do it. Like they did it. They didn't do it perfect because they didn't have a budget. But we can expand on some of that stuff. We aren't going to use we're not going to use their characters, but we show basically season 1 and 2 of all these shows before they were trying to get the next tie-in in. Like, okay, there was some heart here. There was some reason why people like these characters. We need to take these blueprints. Like Flash character, basically his origin story is. I mean, it's like they tried to set it up in Justice League, but it's like no, he needs to give him an origin and let that go, and then not. I mean, he's not like Batman where everybody can spit off his origin every time. Like a Fantastic Four, I wouldn't say you. I think you need to spit it act like there's going to be some new people coming in, but with DC, you need a little bit of origin. But once you get rolling, without creature commandos, I think you got a ways to go. I think you have the runway and can do whatever. But if you start off on the nobody knows these cats, they just know 2-second snippets. Like, oh, who's like you said, who's Green Lantern? Well, I can tell you there's a whole lot of Green Lanterns, and I got my favorite. You might have your favorite, and I can. I mean, it's like I can tell you who's my favorite in the Sinestro Corps War. So they got to do a little more.
Isn't that the failure of DC though, right? Because like you said, Jayce, they have to have origin stories. And they started with good footing. You know, they gave us Wonder Woman. They gave us Henry Cavill's Superman. The only thing we were missing was DC Universe or DCU Superman movie. We got Aquaman, and now we have Flash.
We got Man of Steel. You don't like that one?
Say again?
We got Man of Steel.
Henry Cavill's.
Yeah. We got that. But
were you saying the only one we're missing was Batman?
Say again, Jeff?
Were you saying the only one that we didn't get was a Batman movie?
A Batman under DCU. So
yeah. You said
Batman.
Superman, and I assumed that's what you were talking about.
Well, like,
I wanted to see a Ben Affleck standalone movie.
I did too.
That dude killed it with Bruce Wayne and Batman. I was like, man, give me that movie. I would have loved to see him going toe to toe with Deathstroke, either before we had Batman versus Superman. I think what happened, where they really messed up, was instead of doing Wonder Woman and doing Batman, they jumped into Batman versus Superman. And in the Ultimate Edition, right up until the Doomsday fight, I thought that fight was too much. Even though Wonder Woman was great in it, but I mean, they could have ended it with Batman going rogue and just taking out those dudes in the warehouse. That was awesome. And having them come to some agreement and like, all right, dude, I'm with you. Let's go fight whoever else is coming. In scene. Having Doomsday show up was like, what are you doing? This is too early to do this. And that was rumors way back.
Can I give you my thoughts real quick on what they should have did? Tell all the origin stories of that original Justice League. How many of it? 5, right?
No, man, it's 7 of them.
It's 7 of them.
7, which we didn't even do.
Right.
We ain't do. But at least for the Aquaman, Flash, Batman, Superman, and Cyborg. That 5. And Aquaman.
Cyborg you could have had in that his movie was very well contained in Justice League. I mean, in Justice League. But if you wanted to
have that,
he didn't
put Green Lantern.
You don't have to have it, but hey, look, for equity, man, get a brother movie,
Well, I mean, the problem is those other characters
are stronger standalone. They're stronger
standalone. And Cyborg has always been associated with the Teen Titans until they
decided
Huh?
You know what I would have done? I would have teamed up Cyborg and Flash because I feel
they
like
could have done that. They were teammates and friends in the freaking Teen Titans. And that worked out so well for so long.
Now I would have did that, had each of their standalones and combined the Flash and Cyborg because they're the weaker of I'm not gonna say weaker, but you can do that with those.
They could play off of each other well in the buddy dynamic.
They both got tragedy in their origins too.
Yeah. Lethal weapon for superheroes, right? That's what I would have built.
Right?
Enter a actual Justice League movie where they fight a common enemy, but a Batman Superman movie comes after that Justice League movie, kind of like a Captain America Civil War, where the team is divided because Bruce and Kal-El's Clark's ideals.
They could have worked that part in where Bruce started having nightmares about Superman going rogue, and then we find out later Zod placed that in his head, or Lex Luthor put that in his head and was like, I got you. And that could have tied in the whole Luthor getting the access to the mother boxes. And it's like, they put that in his head and he's like, I'm going to put this in the Batman's head and I'm going to set these two up to fight. And even though they were friends and allies from when they came together in Justice League, now they're fighting. It's like, shoot, that would have built up people going, wait, why are they fighting now?
I mean, but you could have also just added in that Justice League movie, just one little ideal difference between the two of them in the movie. And then you let that look like it's festering as the movie goes on, and then you go and deal with it the next movie. I mean, it's like again,
just like they did in Age of Ultron.
I mean, again, and everybody would say, "Oh, they're just ripping off Civil War," and we'd have been like, "Here's my money. I don't care."
Would not have cared. I just wanted a good movie. Yeah. All right, let's see here. 80s kids from the 90s. Guardians 3 was great, absolutely. But I got a question. 80s kid from the 90s, man. I just watched. I'm behind. I'm not caught up, so I need to put that big caveat out there. I love Superman and Lois. I mean, that show is standing up there right now with the best TV shows featuring superheroes ever. I mean, this whole Lois has cancer storyline has been so mature, so like thoughtfully done. It's not the normal, it'll be all better, Lois. Boop. Nah, man, they've done it with the emotional stuff from Lois's perspective to her circle, how it affects everybody from Clark, Jordan, Jonathan, Lana. This last episode I watched, Lana was actually cool again. I was like, whoa, where you been all season? John Henry. So many characters have been impacted by this. And it's not oh, shoot, Superman's wife, Lois, has cancer. It's Lois has cancer. And here's all the stuff, the mature stuff that's affecting her and impacting her. Tremendously done. And please put in the comments why you had to give up on the show. Because, man, I gotta know. Stickman said, I don't trust the Gun will have a chance to do the DC right. I think his Superman won't be a massive hit, and WB will get cold feet. You are so right, because I feel like WB is like, it didn't make $1 billion. Cancel, scrap it all over again. You've been saying that for a while, bro.
Yeah, because it's like, I mean, it's like if I'm James Gunn, I'm like, no, I need an iron. I need like a Washington. I need a Washington Wizards kind of Ernie Grunsfeld contract that you aren't firing me because I got dirt on the president kind of contract before I take this job. I'm not. I want guarantees. If it bombs, you're gonna let me keep bombing the studio out of existence. I'm not. You aren't gonna kick me after the first show. It's like, and that's the only way I would have taken that job. It's like, it's a great opportunity, but it's like, that's like saying taking over the Houston Rockets is a great opportunity. No, it's not. It's like, you have to say, hey, there are so many liabilities. I need guarantees, because if my first one basically opens, let's say, like for inflation, Captain America 1, you're not going to say get cold feet. And I need to have, like, I need 5 picture guarantees that I can get out before we start asking questions.
And the real problem for them is they have rebooted and restarted their universe so many times that comic book movie fans are like, nah, man. That's exactly why Stickman said, I don't think that he'll get a chance to do the DC right. Stickman didn't say Gunn can't do the DC right. It's the fact that they make these decisions like, let's give Zack Snyder the keys to the DC universe. Zack Snyder he never hid how he made movies. And DC said, here you go. And then all of a sudden, people weren't loving it. It's like, whoa, let's take the keys from Zack Snyder. And Zack's like, what are y'all doing? I'm doing the movies the way I wanted to. The way that you knew I was going to make these movies. Why are you now going, oh, wait, they're not making $1 billion. Thor Ragnarok did better than Batman versus Superman. It's all your fault.
You could have slowed me down and be like, hey, we see where you, because I tell you years in advance the movies I want to run with. Batman versus Superman, not yet. Because I mean, it's like it's not like, I mean, he was in charge, but it's like you still have, these are your properties. We don't want our 2 biggest heroes fighting. We want ideal. We see how Marvel's, their good ideals have won the day versus a bad guy. I mean, half the daggone bad guys were like C tier, B tier bad guys. It wasn't their A tier bad guys. So it's like, we don't need to have our A tier good guys fighting each other. It doesn't make sense. Right. Like,
and that's the problem, because they built up every villain. Loki, Ultron. We get this big teasing menace of Thanos being a problem. Whoa, Thanos is actually a real problem. We get a cool villain like Baron Zemo. We got, trying to think of any other great villains in the rest of the MCU leading up to Thanos. I mean, we get some pretty cool ones. We get some nice occupying bad guys, but it's not like, oh man. I mean, Vulture was a great villain. We didn't have like all these A-list villains, but they told a really great story. So Baron
Strucker was regulated to like Z tier in that movie in Age of Ultron, and it still was like nobody was tripping, because it was like, I would have liked to see more of a Baron Zemo. I would have liked, not Baron Zemo. I would have liked to see Baron Strucker. You kicked him the Shield.
I got to say this name because he made a great point, Jeff. Digital Diarrhea. I love that name, man.
But the Avatar is kicking too. I mean, it is yes. Working into the whole deal. It's not just, let me come up with it is bam. I got you with Avatar too.
But Digital Diarrhea is absolutely spot on. You have to build in order to build a house, you need a foundation. DC never had a foundation.
Yeah. And the thing we talked about so often was you didn't have to, it wasn't like, how do we get something to move our car forward? Maybe a square block? No. What about this wheel that Marvel's done? Okay, if you want to try that. They had the answers. You start off with your standalone heroes, make them come together, people are invested, make $1 billion. The end. They were like, nah,
And Superman didn't need to be your first one. I mean, it's like Marvel did not use their number one A-level guy jump. He's like, they had it, we got our most grounded, and then went from there. And
Iron Man was their best choice to make it work because Captain America had to be set in the old school World War II time period because you needed to introduce why he has the values he has. Period superhero films aren't going to work right away. That's why he couldn't start off Wonder Woman in World War One. She had to be introduced in modern time.
Well, you could have introduced Wonder Woman before with their own standalone movie before, because it's like no one would have.
It's the first film in the DC universe.
You didn't have Captain Marvel as the first one in Marvel. Like you don't have to go in chronological order, but you need to have it's like, okay, who is it's like DC's like our most grounded superhero is Batman, but Christopher Nolan just used him, so we can't use him. So who's out of our core Justice League? Who's our next most grounded one?
They already tried that. They tried it with Green Lantern. Green Lantern, that Ryan Reynolds 2011 film, was supposed to be the start of their new universe. And then it was going to feed into Man of Steel. Green Lantern bombed so hard, they were like, what Green Lantern? What are you talking about? That never existed. We're starting this thing off with Zack Snyder. And that was the thing. It was like Ryan Reynolds' Green Lantern was so fantasy, like sci-fi. And was like, nope, we need somebody to make it grimy, gritty, and dirty. Zack Snyder can do that. Let's bring him on. And Zack Snyder delivered a good movie. And then it was like, what's happening? Blake. Marvel didn't let the foundation rot, allow the termites in. I mean, we can expand on these termites, Blake, but I'm curious to hear what you think because, I mean, man, I am just thinking about phase 4 and 5, and I'm just like, gosh. Every time a new Marvel Studios film came out, I was so hyped. I was like, guess what? We're about to run and do a whole marathon. We're going to start with Iron Man. We're going to go to Iron Man 2. Or Iron Man, then Hulk, then Iron Man 2. Then we're going to Thor, Captain America, Avengers. Keep it going. I didn't watch Iron Man 3. I'm not going to say everything else I kept going with. I did a marathon all the time. And then when it was time for Infinity War, I was so hyped up for that trailer. I watched it like 20 times, maybe 5 times in a row. I'm not going to say. But I was like, oh, one more time. Oh, this is so cool. I mean, boop. I got the goosebumps watching Hulk fake out, running with the Avengers. I was ready for that movie. And then when I started seeing the trailers for Endgame, and where does that lead you back to me? Seeing Thor, Iron Man, and Captain America, like, oh, shoot. They're about to beat down Thanos. This is about to be the most amazing movie ever. I don't feel like I was really disappointed. But since then, it's like, what in the world are y'all doing? I feel like this multiverse saga has just been the wrong way to go. Jovon, what you think?
I got a real question for everybody. You, Jayce, what's my guy just put that comment up there, Blake. At what point did the foundation start to rot? Because this was gravy train, biscuit wheels. It seems like the last 5 movies have been duds outside of Guardians.
It's not so much they've been duds, it's they've taken wrong decisions, I think, where that Black Widow movie needed to come out so long ago. Like you can't kill a character off and be like, hey, you want to watch your standalone? No. I mean, I like the movie, but I'm like, I don't care about her sister like that. I like Natasha. I need y'all killing her off. And
now here's her movie.
So that wasn't a good idea. Shang-Chi is cool, but it's like he's like a C+ character. I mean, we've gone from the A-list to okay, he's an interesting character, but I need a bigger name. I feel like where they messed up was we knew they had the licenses for the Fantastic Four and the X-Men. And when they got the licenses for Spider-Man, it was, here we're rearranging everything. We're making sure Spider-Man gets front and center, putting him in Civil War, going right away. We don't need an origin movie. He is going right here next to Cap, Iron Man, everybody else. He's a big-time player. He's being presented like such. We're going to introduce Black Panther in this thing. You're all going to care about him. And we're going to see Giant Man. We're going to do it big time. And, you know, when you tell me you got access to the X-Men, you got access to the Fantastic Four, and then you want to go, hey, here's Shang-Chi. Here's this version of She-Hulk. Here's this Black Widow. I'm like, what are y'all doing? I mean, Hawkeye is cool, but I'm like, what? Move those away. I want to see something heading in the direction of the X-Men and the Fantastic Four.
I wouldn't.
I want a new Daredevil movie or show. I don't care about any of these other ones. I feel like the only shows on Disney Plus are really interesting and like worth it were Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Loki, because Loki was actually the one thing that's been focused on the multiverse. And it was like, oh shoot, everything's about to unravel. And we haven't seen that unraveling play any role in anything except for Multiverse of Madness. WandaVision was cool. It kind of dealt with her trauma, but it didn't lead to everything else. Before,
Spider-Man
connected.
Yeah,
I'm taking Spider-Man out of this because the Spider-Man were like the only ones that stayed on the assignment, were staying focused. Like, yes, I'm affected. I'm impacted by Tony Stark's death. Oh, shoot, this meant a whole lot to me. And hey, look, here's more of the multiverse. You're right about that. Their connection there. But yeah, man, it was just like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
The 80s from the 90s says the DCEU should have started with Aquaman. Now there's an interesting story. And that movie was fun. People liked that. It made $1 billion.
You know, funny, I'm trying, like, that was the one that was not grounded. And I don't know, and maybe this is just me watching Entourage and them making a joke, like, who's gonna buy Aquaman being this great film? But it's like, you did have an opportunity. It's like, I mean, it's like I said, I don't know who you have as your first film. I almost think Flash should have been the first film, because it's like, you could start with basically like almost like using the CW's origin of him. Like, hey, we pop right in after origin. Here's the Flash.
Now, this is the one time I'm going to agree with their philosophy on not confusing people. If you have Flash opening up your new universe and you got a really good Flash, because let's see, that was 2015 when Man of Steel dropped, 2013. You're competing with a good CW product at that point.
And that was a good one. Okay.
Aquaman is a really good idea because the fans like that movie. 86 from the 90s, right? It was $1 billion hit, international, domestically, hit all over. And one of DC's strongest films until Batman and Joker came along. And I'm still not sure if it's not one or I think it may be number 2 behind the Batman. But I still think it's right.
What are you talking about?
I know. But yeah, I mean, that film was great. That could have started off everything. We could have seen the Flash zooming in like, hey, what's going on?
I still would have did Wonder Woman. I'm pandering.
80s kid for the 90s. Because the first episode of Secret Invasion was marvelous.
Okay, let's say this. Like, if you could have had Man of Steel and then gone to Wonder Woman, I think you would have been in better shape. Because it's like DC, you kind of know it's like, all right, we have our big three will crush Marvel's big three. And Marvel's big three, we don't even really know who their true big three. Our big three, is it Spider-Man? Is it Wolverine? Is it Deadpool?
Wolverine, yeah.
Right.
Like, and if you don't have a license to X-Men, we can beat you. So that's our 3 movies. Start there. Don't introduce them all in one movie. We need properties that can actually make us $1 billion.
No, they could have done the tease. They could have been like, we could have seen at the end of Man of Steel, we didn't even need to know who the actor was. We could have seen a cave interior. We see bats flying around, coming in, leading into a big computer screen, and then this Joker going, turning the screen off. We still don't see his face. We just see that cape.
We see the chair move around. Just it's like
you don't see Batmobile.
Like, that's how he had to the Batmobile. It's like, oh shoot!
Like they needed the secret. I mean, like they needed the Nick Fury. Like if Iron Man comes out, has no second scene. I mean, like it doesn't have the. He just reveals he's Iron Man and nothing else. It would have been, oh, that's a fun movie. But that anticipation of, oh, that's where you're going. Like again, it's like after Avenger. I mean, it's like, oh, y'all are bringing Thanos. It's like that. Just that. That's why those post-trailer scenes were so important to getting us hype for the next thing. And then that's why I think
Iron Man 2
has failed. It's like, what's the post-credit scene? Something that isn't involving this character.
Yeah, it's a joke. It's some like, it's a light tease. It's like, okay, you guys don't understand the post credits anymore. It's supposed to lead me to the next thing. It's supposed to be guiding me to the water of, hey, this is what you're supposed to be hyped up. Like Iron Man 2, the hammer's here. Oh, shoot, you guys are serious about this Avengers thing. And the end of that, oh, Loki's on Earth. Well, Loki, if I'm following with my comic book lore, he's the one that gets the Avengers together. Oh, man. And then, shoot, Captain America's like, we don't need a post-credit scene. Avengers, here we go. And it's like, oh shoot, Nick Fury and Cap right here. It's like,
here's my credit card. Like, we're
exactly.
done.
I was so like, oh my gosh, you guys are doing this right. And I feel like knowing what was going on, DC was so lax. They let a whole decade pass before, like, you know what we probably need to do is do a better connected universe. And now James Gunn is going, listen, I've got 10 films in this Gods and Monsters arc. Stay with me. But people are so burned by everything that's
Gods and Monsters. Like, come on. Like, that's you're telling me, like, you're giving me in this opening arc, Swamp Thing, Creature Commando. And you want me to, I mean, because by the time these movies come out, it's going to be about $50 a person to get in the movie theater. If movie theaters are still around. But it's going to be $50. You want me to buy, yes, you got me on Guardians of the Galaxy, and your track record should say, hey, I got you. I'm the one that got you the Guardians. So trust me on Creature Commando. But that's a hard sell when it comes to it's going to be $50.
That's just a cartoon. That's something to fill some time. I'm okay with that. I'm not putting any onus on anything until we get to Superman Legacy. Superman Legacy might be the most important movie DC's ever released, because if that bombs, if that doesn't connect, they're probably going to panic and press a button. Sorry, James and Peter. We don't care what you're doing.
It's one. Another thing is, like, I'm wondering, it's like, if when it comes to the casting of Superman, you have the hardest jobs. Like, it has to be knocked out the box. Like, either he has to look like Superman, or he has to, like, because as much as everybody hates on Brandon Routh, I'm like, Brandon Routh played the hell out of the continuation of Christopher Reeve's Superman. Like, the material he was given was not great, but he played exactly that person. Like, so you got to give me, it's like, all right, this guy something has to say, all right, these are the characters, and you're going to buy it. Because, like, when you saw Russell Crowe and Henry Cavill, you're like, well, at least I got Russell Crowe, so at least I got a kind of Marlon Brando kind of symmetry here. And this Henry Cavill dude, oh yeah, it looks like a walking tank. Yeah, okay, he's Superman. We're good. You're going to give me a teen-ish Superman starting out?
The real problem is they had a great movie Superman and Henry Cavill, and they have an amazing Superman on the small screen in Tyler Hoechlin. I mean, there was a scene in this last episode of Watch where Lois and Lana are sitting at the table. We're going to have a Bazoombas party. We're going to have a party at Bazoombas. And Clark goes, oh, the chicken joint? And they're like, nobody goes there for the chicken. It's like, and then he goes, oh, and he sold it so perfect. I'm like, you are so Clark Kent Superman, dude. And that's a problem, because before it was, can you beat Christopher Reeve? Can you beat Dean Cain? Yes. Can you beat Brandon Routh? Yeah, I could probably do that, because the movie he was in was terrible. And I was like, yeah, but can you beat the TV and most recent Superman and Christopher Reeve? Probably not. So, yeah, that's going to be a problem. All right, let's talk here about some other stuff on the docket. First episode of Secret Invasion was marvelous, says 80s kid from the 90s. I totally agree. So much fun. I went on Twitter today, bad me, and I saw a huge controversy, not having anything to do. Saw Secret Invasion, trend was like, yes, everybody's hyped up. I can't wait to see what people are talking about. They're talking about the opening sequence. And not because, oh, what an amazing act. Nick Fury's awesome. They're talking about the opening credit sequence that was done entirely by AI. And, you know, there's all of this fuss on social media. You're taking work from hardworking visual effects artists and making it an AI contraption. And it was terrible. It's awful. What are you guys doing? Did y'all have any thought about that opening? I felt it was too long. And I was like, all right, I get it. let's fast forward to the show starts.
I mean,
I would
just give
hate-
me Bad Batch's ending. Boom, go.
Have you ever gone on YouTube and watched like AI created commercials?
No.
I love it because it's absolutely bonkers. It's like it's like going to a psych ward and getting all the sickest people and saying, "All right, create something. All of you sit in this room and create a big commercial. Go." And it's total nightmare fuel. I love it. I love it because it's from the mind of a maniac. I love it. So yeah,
So you thought it was the Secret Wars intro was kind of the
chef's kiss, man.
I was like, can we get to the show, please? I need to see the Fury back in action.
yeah.
All right, with no spoilers, what'd you think of this first episode?
This starts. It's like this starts like, hey, there's some stakes here, which I know we've talked about in previous podcasts. You could have shifted this up versus all this Phase 4. I would have been excited for Phase 4. Like just seeing it, just this one episode gets me excited. Like, oh, there's something here. Like this is, I mean, I was mad. It's like, what do you mean? I just get one episode. I get 2 episodes. What are you talking about? I get my 2 episode junk, and then you drip it out after that every week. Like no.
What's bad is when you get the first 2 episodes, like the press did, it was like, you mean I gotta wait 2 extra weeks for the newest episode? I know, for me, no one cares. But I was like, oh, come on. Not because, I was like, I got these first 2 episodes. They suck for not having the rest of the season. It was like, it was so good. It was like, oh, man, I want more right away. I feel like this is almost a show. If you can avoid any spoilers, it's so much better to just binge the whole thing because I don't feel like you're going to have the patience to want to watch it out. And 80s Kids from the 90s ask a non-spoiler question. Could any of the Avengers be a Skrull? I feel like yes. I feel like that seems to be an obvious thing that we're going to see at some point. I hope it's not the obvious one because the only one Avenger we know of is in the show. Hopefully that's not going to be he's a Skrull, surprise, because it's not really going to be a surprise. And based on how things were from other films, I kind of felt like the initial reveal wasn't that big a shock. I'm like, yeah.
Couldn't you have Paul Rudd as a Skrull? He gets replaced after Quantumania. It's actually a Skrull.
Or exactly. He got replaced in Quantumania. He's happy because nobody knows he's really a Skrull. Digital diarrhea. You want to key this one up, Jovon?
Yeah, I can. Digital diarrhea. Seeing Sam Jackson and Ben Mendelsohn on screen together is chef's kiss. Yes, it is.
Yeah, I mean, those 2. I'm like, man, we got General Krennic, we got Mace Windu facing off here, hanging out. I'm like, wow, that was great. And those 2 are really, really good. And what I think is so great about this show is Nick Fury, Samuel Jackson. He's a great storyteller, and he's telling great stories right away. And it's like, yes, bring it. I don't even care what he's talking about. Like this show, I think can get away with Samuel Jackson's charisma and the plot maybe kind of lackluster, but he's going to make it good anyway. So love it.
Okay. But also, there's a bad guy. I mean, like that is the difference. Every one of these other shows, they don't start off with first episode bad guy. They all, it's an amorphous. The bad could be just depression. No, it's like I got somebody to root against. That makes a big difference.
Stickman says Thor 4 should have been the introduction of Kang. You mean you didn't love Zeus? Shouldn't have happened in Ant-Man. And Kang should have beat down Thor so everyone would fear him. I love that everyone, and I'm not even saying this sarcastically, but fans of the MCU brand are throwing out all these ideas of what Marvel Studios should have done. I'm like, yep, that sounds great too. I feel like this is like this really rare phenomenon because normally it's like, I get your idea, but man, it's like, that sounds cool. Thor but I said that in my review. Remember when we talked, I said Quantumania would have been a great Thor movie and Ant-Man could have been a Love and Thunder film because he would have been a wacky going around traveling different places.
Yeah. So they would have been local in San Francisco before. But I'm gonna disagree with that because
what did you say?
I'm gonna disagree. Say Ant-Man is tends to be local, not cosmic.
Okay.
But I disagree with Stigman only because we just seen Thor get punished by Thanos, and so we don't need to see him just.
Punished?
I mean, well, let's say he was emotionally.
He went for the head.
Yeah, it's like we need to kind of see like Thor get out on a high note because that's gonna be the last Thor movie. So he probably couldn't do that, but I mean it's a good sentiment though.
I mean, it could have been a standoff where he's like Thor manages to hit something on Kang and sends him back to the future or something where it's like, man, Kang almost had Thor there, and Thor was lucky. But in the rematch, I don't know who's going to win.
He's like kind of on his heels, and he's like, okay, I don't know what, but we need to be prepared for it. Because it's like, it very much didn't make sense. Like when you heard Kang say, man, was Thor the one with the hammer? I beat like 5 of them. It's like, but I lose to these guys, to this guy and some ants. Like,
you mean the job guy? The job guy?
Trash.
Blake goes, they need to bring in a hero from phase 1 as a Mandalorian Luke Skywalker moment as a Skrull. Dude, I have been like, I feel like Secret Invasion really should have been phase 4 because it would have meant so much to see our Black Widow come back like, oh man, I don't care how Natasha's back. Oh yeah, when Cap went through and retrieved all the stuff, he brought me back. And it's like, that shouldn't make sense. But it does, I don't care. Natasha's back. And I was like, oh shoot, she's actually a Skrull. That would have been awesome. AI, CGI, young Tony Stark, and hey, he's back, yay! Oh, he's a Skrull, you bastards. That'd be great. Or Hawkeye is a Skrull, and he's the one that's been mentoring Kate Bishop, who doesn't know that she's working with a Skrull. That way, the young Avengers would start getting motivated, huh?
Hawkeye's the one I think is probably, it's like, he's already done the TV show. I mean, like, and you could hopefully film some episodes where it comes out like, yeah. That's the way to go.
Let's see. 86 from the 90s guarantees that Agent 13 is a Skrull. What do you think? Yes, no, maybe so.
Who's Agent 13?
If I am remembering correctly, Agent 13 would be Sharon Carter.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
I think based on Captain America and Winter Soldier, that would be a really cool way to go.
I guess the Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Well,
lack of confusion. Yeah, that would be actually a nice twist. Stigman agrees. Yeah, I mean, they've got stuff there. But again, if we had let off with, instead of Loki, which was good, we did Falcon and the Winter Soldier, then we lead into Secret Invasion, where it's like, oh, shoot, who could be a Skrull? And then we see Agent 13 in, like, episode 3. Oh, yeah, that makes sense, because where did she turn heel from all of a sudden? Tissue Diarrhea says, I hate to watch a psoriasis commercial and Sam Jackson was in it. He brings in Charles Barkley and Spike Lee. That'd be fun, too. Dun, dun, dun. Yeah. All right, Tissue Diarrhea wants to know, has the John Majors drama subsided or risen? I don't know.
Well,
I didn't know the dude went to court with Making Good.
Well, here's the latest on that, y'all.
Okay.
I just read that there are several witnesses to what happened that night in question. And they're all siding with, I don't know who paid who what, or whether this is coerced testimony or if it's true, but they're saying none of the way it was described is how it actually went down. So we could be looking at charges dismissed or what have you. It all depends on if there's a court appearance, court date, what have you, if it makes it to a trial and they give their testimony. It all depends on, I guess, what those witnesses, and there's now close to a dozen, who said he did nothing wrong. If this all comes out, then okay, it's, this, we sweep this under the rug, but it's almost like the damage is done. He's still tainted no matter what, and people are just going to run with it. It's difficult water to tread. And it's like, look, okay, if that does come out that he's not guilty of any wrongdoing, etc., then okay, can he resume and carry on without having that dark cloud over him? Who knows?
Listen, interesting thing, I'll let you go. I just wanted, because I was thinking when you said this, Ezra Miller had the problem where Ezra was the face of the Flash, a hero, and playing Barry Allen, a guy who is like happy-go-lucky. And I think some people were like, nah, Ezra is a straight-up criminal. This joke is choking out women. I'm not watching the movie. But Jonathan Majors' character is a villain in the MCU, And as long as maybe he sticks to villain roles for a while, people are like, yeah, I knew he was a bad guy.
I want to see him get beat up.
You know, but that was because of Jonathan Majors had a big year. Like he was overexposed at some point. You know, people were like, I get tired of seeing. You know how people can be. I don't like seeing that guy. Blah, blah, blah.
So the Truth in Creed 3.
Yeah, I mean, digital diarrhea. It happens like that. I don't know if you remember Nate Parker, the brother who was he was in everything for a second, and then Birth of a Nation came out.
Man, his career was
over.
Yeah, done.
Over.
Well, I mean, like Jovon, I mean, I hate to say the bad thing is for Jonathan Major is like, I know we have like a little group that talks about that, and like you had so many people saying, "Oh, well, see, I hear this kind of stuff in my line of profession all the time, and it sounds maybe coerced, and maybe money was paid to get this." It's like you almost need video. It's like the only way you're getting out of it, sadly, is probably video to exonerate him. Like people saying is, "Oh, money exchange hand. This guy, he's gonna be on the hook for these guys for the next 20 years," and if he was exonerated, it'd probably be right because sadly for him it would be worth it. But it's like for everybody else who's paying, I don't know if I want to support that. So if you show me a video, I'll probably
and you know, Jayce, court of public opinion is strong, man. Like look at Aziz Ansari for just an example, right? He got accused of being the woman felt that she was sexually assaulted by him, and it actually turned out that it was just a bad date. He hit and ghosted, right? Mm-hmm. Which, hey, people do that. Doesn't make it great, doesn't make it bad, but it's something that happens when you're casually dating in the world today. And he still hasn't been able to recover from that. Yeah. Probably never will.
Now, I wonder if it's because he was not this huge superstar. I was like, nobody cares about him anyway.
Nah, he was getting roles. He was always getting roles. It was always he kind of like, I don't know if it was like his role was kind of, he was like almost typecast as kind of like a jerk, and this kind of played into it. So it's like it's like unless you
gotta remember at the time of all this, his show on Netflix, Master of None, was one of their biggest hits, and honestly should have got a legend send off the same way House of Cards should have gotten until we found out Kevin Spacey was what he was, right? They were some of the biggest properties, so they were big.
I don't even know if you noticed, like Kevin Spacey's supposedly having a resurgence because he got found innocent of his charges, and they're about to release. He's about to release a movie, and it's like one of those. If you can get in court and get exonerated, you have a chance. But I don't think it's almost like because you got to get your jury your peers, not jury of public opinion, to get exonerated. Otherwise, I don't know if you come back.
Jayce, remember, Robert Downey Jr. was persona non grata for a long time.
Love it. And now, we love RDJ. He's amazing. Mel Gibson's still making movies. The public is fickle. Oh, that movie looks great. I'll watch it. I think Jonathan Majors is going to be okay. He's chilling. He's a lay low. And not have anything else pop up for like 15 years. He'll be right. All right. Well, let's see here. Jayce. All right, let's see here. Digital Diarrhea said, even if he's exonerated, sadly will leave a stink. Haha. And I think Ezra got more of a pass because it wouldn't look good to persecute a non-binary person. I don't know. I feel like that should not come into play at all. It's like, listen, you did something crazy. You need to, we're all about people. That needs to be part of it too.
Jeff, you had more of a chance in Hawaii of being attacked by Ezra Miller than a shark at one point in time.
I mean, in Vermont too. One like he was. I mean, Ezra.
They was just grooming.
Like, I think it more has to do with like he looked like somebody was having mental distress. I mean, Ezra looked like a person having mental distress more than anything. It's like the scenario was just so wild.
Yeah, there was some wild stuff going on there. All right, well, since we're going on to things that aren't going to happen anymore, the Batman Beyond movie was supposed to be coming up. Michael Keaton was back on board, is happy to do the thing. And yeah, it sounds like because The Flash sucked at the box office, we're not getting the live action Batman Beyond film. Jayce, I know you were a huge Batman Beyond fan. How do you feel about this?
I I really thought when they announced Michael Keaton as Batman, I thought this was where they were going. I'm like, this makes perfect sense. He's the old Batman who could give it to the next generation. If you were trying to move around and have it next generation, he's like, hey, we can start it. you could literally start your next generation of heroes to move past Zack Snyder, the Snyderverse, by using Batman Begins and then introducing the new
Batman Beyond.
Batman Beyond. You could use almost kind of like a softer reboot after Flashpoint. Like, hey, we got Bruce Wayne now is mentoring Terry McGinnis. Then you go into the new Green Lantern. Then you got a newer Superman, maybe a Jonathan or Jordan Kent, and go from there in a new Wonder Woman. And that's how you get to the next round of DC super movies. But they put way too much. It was. Like I said before, it was a pipe dream. Once you killed the universe, you could do all of this without making that statement, and people would have. I'm sorry, I just don't buy. People don't go see Shazam, even though the delay was long and Drake was way too on that movie sound intro, which made no dang sense. But they screwed it up magically.
Yeah, you can't tell people who are, the Snyderverse fans, at least on social media, are quite vocal, and they're like, we were here for everything involved in this joint, and now they're like having a little victory dance. Ha! You got rid of Snyderverse. That's what you get. And it's kind of like, well, maybe so. But because they have not finished these movies. We still got Aquaman to come. They're saying Blue Beetle's part of this new DCU, but who can believe him at this point? Where it's like, unless it sucks at the box office, then it's going, whatever. But now there's a report that this Batgirl movie, because, there was all kinds of outrage when they canceled the Batgirl movie. And it was like, nah, we can't put this movie out. We've got to protect the brand of Warner Brothers Films. And we can't put this crappy Batgirl film out because no one's going to see it. It's just going to tank. It's not going to make any money at the box office. And Flash is limping along, tripping over his feet. And it's like, well, this protected the brand. Again, I'm not hating. I like the Flash movie. I'm not going to be ever like, oh, that's what you get, Flash. I did think they were really going out on a limb with the CEO of Warner Brothers going, it's the best superhero movie ever. And like, come on. It's not the best superhero movie this year, last 2 years, last 3 years. What are you talking about? Just say, I really love the movie, and I hope our fans do too.
Yeah.
No problem. But to go the best superhero movie ever, James Gunn saying it's one of the best. If James Gunn did it, the best one for this year, live action. Yeah. And Tom Cruise saying it's great. People are like, yeah, but you haven't done a superhero movie. You've done really great Mission Impossible films. Who cares what Tom Cruise thinks? And clearly, audiences didn't care. I don't care what David Zaslav says. I don't care what Tom Cruise says. Go back to jumping on couches if you're talking about this is one of the greatest movies ever. You chill out. But you can't tell people it doesn't matter because then everybody's going to treat it like it doesn't matter. And I feel like Shazam 2 was the precursor to what we're going to see with The Flash, what we've seen with Flash, what we're going to see with Blue Beetle, what we're going to see with Aquaman. No one's going to care until 2025 when the grand reset takes place. And it's like, all right, now everything matters.
Okay. So I'm sorry, Jovon, if you're going to talk, but if they've already said Warner's has claimed they are taking a write down for Batwoman, Batgirl. They've already
totally different character.
Yeah, they've already said they're taking the Tykes right off. They're never releasing it. I don't understand why it's like you see where the trends are going. It's like it's like, hey, we're not going to market these movies as hard, but we're going to release them and see what we can get, or just take the right. It's like just keep shutting. You're just basically going the sunken cost fallacy. It's like you're just going to be shooting more bad money. It's like it's not. You have no chance. You put probably $200 million into Aquaman. You're probably going to put $100 million in marketing, but it's going to make let's say $100 million, and you're $70 million in red anyway.
So the word is that between Flash, Shazam, Black Adam, and all the marketing, they're going to spend $1 billion on these movies that are coming real low under 500 million. That's terrible.
And that's not gonna. And those movies aren't gonna count cans for the next wave, right? For the actual James Gunn wave.
Nope.
So isn't that like remodeling a house that you're just gonna destroy anyway? You're gonna demo it anyway.
Right. Exactly. Let's tell everybody how great this house is. By the way, we're destroying the house in 2 years. But check out this amazing new windows we put in. I don't care about your windows. I don't care about the pool table you put down in the basement either. I'm good.
Hey, look here.
I don't need to come back.
Viking range. We got all the bells and whistles in the kitchen, but it's all coming down. Hurry up and come to the open house, folks.
Its open house has been canceled. 80s Kid from the 90s says they should make that last film from the Batman after Superman Legacy, then get a director for World's Finest to include both characters. Listen, they just let Mark Waid write a script for Batman and Superman World's Finest. I am there. I'll go to the LA premiere. He's writing a great book. Dan Moore is doing art. It is fantastic comic book stuff. I need them to go to them, go to Mark Waid, go to Jeremy Adams, Joshua Williamson. Let them write comic book movies. Really great comic book writers write really great comic book movies. And Batman and Superman World's Finest, absolutely my favorite comic book out there today. Another comic book recommendations for the week. Nightwing, awesome, tremendous. Read that book, please. Nightwing is awesome. The whole issue is from Nightwing's perspective. So we see Dick put the mask on. It's awesome. Trust me. Read it. Check it out. 86 from the 90s also said Matt Reeves is a great director. Matt Reeves is a really great director. I just hated Batman. I feel like this is depressing and not fun. I'll just watch Dark Knight, a movie that was not great happy, but it was really great and the acting was awesome. I didn't have Batman taking spray paint to the mansion just to put a map on the floor. Like, come on. What are you doing? That was ridiculous.
Who was Alfred in that movie?
Gollum.
Oh, yeah.
Eagle. Yeah. Okay, that was a choice too. He was really good. I'm not gonna hate on Andy Serkis.
I mean, like again, it's like the funny thing is, I think because the Matt Reeves was supposed to be the Ben Affleck one, I think with the Bat, if you had, and this just have that in the universe, I think you would have had a better. I mean, I think you just have a better movie versus something else in DC that doesn't matter.
Doesn't make sense. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And look, I really wanted to give Pattinson a try, but I'm sorry. Every time I looked at him as Bruce Wayne, I kept thinking he was going to be whispering nothings into some dead-eyed girl's ear. I'm a vampire. I don't care. I just didn't. It didn't catch me. I'm sorry. I did love the car chase, the Batmobile and the chase scene when he chased the penguin. That was the best. That to
was
me
the best part of the movie.
Best part of the movie.
And they showed it in the trailer. I was like, that's an awesome trailer. But then it was the best part of the movie. So
I wanted that gritty Batman. And this is another thing I hated. Why was Jeffrey Wright adopting Christian Bale's groggy Batman voice? It's
a gruff Commissioner Gordon. You're kind of an older guy. You should kind of like, thick mustache. Because you think when you see Gordon, you got this thick mustache, older guy kind of helping Bruce Wayne out. I mean, Batman out. So you got to go, hey, how you doing?
But Jayce, he sounded like he could have made it his own. You know what he sounded like to me every time when I just kept making the joke, running my fingers, man. Was it Buddy Guys? Who was it? Was it Buddy Guys, the pawn shop? That was no, I wasn't Buddy Guys. I'm drawing back on the name, but that's the pawn shop owner in Trading Places. When Dan Aykroyd when Clarence Winthrop brings his watch in, he's like, running my fingers, man. Like, why is he talking like this?
Blake's putting out a question. It's so interesting. Do you all want to see the Batman Forever Schumacher cut with the giant bat? I feel like we've gotten into the extended edition supercuts of movies so far that now there's clamoring, there's thoughts of, hey, can we get a Joel Schumacher Batman Forever cut? The regular cut is too much for me. Because
I'll be honest with you, Blake, everybody. I would have loved to see the Tim Burton's Batman with Nicolas Cage. If they would have filmed 10 minutes of that movie, I would give everything I have just to see it.
His what?
Tim Burton was going to direct Batman. And there's footage of Nick Cage out there in the internet verse of him in the Superman. And there's footage of Nick Cage in the Burton Batman costume.
I will not comment further
Yeah.
What you say.
Like,
I would have loved to see that.
For
Okay.
reason.
So let me answer Blake's question. I actually read that they said there is the Batman Forever that's like has a 50. It's like 15 minutes, 50 or 15 minutes, and it's a much
It's a
darker.
big difference.
It's a big it's a darker movie. They're like it's not as campy as what we saw in theaters. It was much darker kind of movie, and it was like Schumacher. I mean, the funny thing is like Schumacher didn't suck always. There is a point he sucked, but it's definitely like
Batman and Robin.
Yeah, it's like there's definitely like a point where it's like how did you get those keys? But it's probably before Batman Forever. Batman Forever, there's probably something I'd be like, I would try that one. I don't know if like I think it would probably be I'd give him more of a chance than I probably would like after watching Suicide Squad's extended edition. Because I'm like, okay, it still wasn't a great movie, but it helps flesh it out a little bit. So I'd probably give him more of a chance.
Suicide Squad's problem is the fact that the villains are made of Play-Doh and Enchantress is just, it's so bad. That part. I mean, I love the connection with the Suicide Squad themselves, but it's like, you have no bad guys worth anything here. And the James Gunn Suicide Squad was fun because it had a villain, and one of the members was a villain too. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think there's a great use of Max. Hey, come check out Max. See the uncensored, unfiltered Schumacher cut of Batman Forever. I think their real problem was they made Two-Face too comedic, where you already had Jim Carrey going, yes, yes, yes. He's bringing Fire Marshal Bob into the joint. I'm like, calm it down. But yeah, Jim Carrey at the peak of his comedic powers. That's what you expect. That's what you got. But I think the problem was Two-Face did not need to go that same route. I mean, Aaron Eckhart, he killed it as Two-Face. And if Tommy Lee Jones was just Tommy Lee Jones playing Two-Face, that would have been great. But it was totally different. Totally off center. Javon, you want to see this cut?
No, not at all.
No. I mean, you who loves bad movies do not want to see this.
Jayce, look, I went to the theater to see both Batman Forever and what was the Clooney Batman?
Batman and Robin.
Batman and Robin.
Oh God, yeah, that was and I told you when I took my grandmother to see that Tyler Perry turd, I felt like Tyler Perry should have been out there in front of the theater issuing an apology to everybody who bought a ticket to see that movie. I felt the same way about that Batman and Robin. I felt
Batman and Robin was the movie where it's like you felt embarrassed watching the movie, like you're sinking down ever further into your seat in the theater. This is long before they have balcony seats where you're like, I need to hide so these people right behind me don't recognize me or see me in the theater. Like,
it was like going to a porno theater, man.
Yeah, right. Like, and everyone's trying to come out. It's like, whoa.
Looking around like seating in there.
Don't look at me. You don't
no coworkers see you getting pie
a creep.
I need to come out of this theater like this. That was such a bad movie. I mean, it was just Freeze. No, Mr. Freeze. We don't need you saying that. Or Uma Thurman. I mean, Bane. The travesty they did to Bane. So bad.
They did to my boy.
Right.
How do you cast? I mean, like you could cast Arnold Schwarzenegger as Bane or Mr. Freeze. What idiot?
Which of the two would you choose? Miss Freeze? No. 82 for the 90s. Why didn't they get Williams back? Billy D. Williams, the one and only, back for Two-Face and Forever. I don't know. I think he was had some loyalty to Tim Burton. Was like, he's out, I'm not here. And I think if I remember that correctly, Michael Keaton and was like, yeah, I'm good if Tim ain't back. And I think that might have been the case there as well. But there's a really great comic book, Batman 89, which continues the adventures of the Tim Burton universe. The screenwriter from those, from Batman and Batman Returns wrote a comic book, and it features Billy D. Williams as Two-Face, introduces Robin. Really great read. It has the same tone of those movies from the Burton era. Really good. If you haven't checked those out, totally recommend them. Digital Diarrhea. Batman Forever and Wyatt Earp with Costner were the only two movies I've ever walked out on.
Oh man, I've got a digital. Let me tell you, I've got a wow. It's a list. It's a list. Yeah. I went to see John Leguizamo's The Pest in theaters. Yeah, dude. Jason's face right there. That captured it. He says, money to burn, you dummy,
Yeah,
huh?
you really did. Gosh.
Keep reading it.
I mean, no. See, was that a date movie?
No, remember the movie theater in Pentagon City?
Oh yeah.
Guys, if you don't know, Pentagon City, Big Mall, Virginia, whatever. They had a movie theater downstairs.
It's great.
Jason and I worked in that mall, and I used to steal everything that wasn't bolted down in my store so that I could get. I was like, here, movie people, give me those spools of free movie tickets. Video game people, give me free video games. You're starving college students. Here's food from my store, and we live like kings.
Hey, I mean, it was a barter system at that time. So.
Yeah. The best, yes. God, in the opening, I walked out of that movie during the opening because he was in the shower rapping and making all these faces. I was like, "Yep, fuck this, I'm out." And I got right up and walked out. Nope, not doing it.
You know, I should have walked out of Joe Dirt. I was literally the only person in the theater. I was like, "Why am I here?" And it was not like it was. I mean, it was early in the day, but it was like, I think I'm going to be the only person here. You know, like sometimes, like, all right, people start coming in late. No one else came in. Not even the janitor staff to be like, did someone sneak into this movie? No. I was like, all right, I got to entertain myself some way. I was moving up and down different roads, different seats, just to be like, what's it like watching a movie from here? What's it like watching a bad movie from here? Because the movie sucked. I was like, wow, I cannot believe they made a sequel to that. By the way.
Honestly, that's like one of those joints like where a couple buys a ticket to say they have some enjoyment in the movie theater. And they're like, they see you like, wow.
Right. What are you doing here? We picked this movie because no one else is gonna be here except for you, dummy. Yeah.
And you know what's funny? I like Joe Dirt a little bit.
You would. Like Joe Dirt.
There was 2 jokes in there that I thought were hilarious.
That's bad that you can remember the 2 jokes that were funny.
Because there's only 2 of them. Now, Digital Diarrhea, those were the movies that I used to go see as a teenager because, like Jeff said, there's nobody in there and there's horny teens. That's where you got to make out.
You got to get number 1. Dude, the whole thing was good. I liked it, but check it out. Yeah, so let's talk about another thing that looks like an air-conditioned movie ride. Have y'all seen the trailer for Kraven the Hunter?
You ever throw a dog pee pad in the trash? You forget about it, it's in there. It's like at the bottom of your trash can. You forget it's in there. And you take that lid off, and you're like, "Oh God!" That was my reaction to the trailer. Like, who pissed in the trash can, man? You can't do that.
I love whoever's writing these Sony movies. Hey, look, Spider-Man got bit by a radioactive spider. Morbius got bit by radioactive bats. Kraven got bit by a crazy lion. What are we doing? What are we doing? Please.
I mean, like, it just like, why? I mean, like, seriously, watching that trailer, you're just like, really? Like, again, it's like, Sony, why are you trying? It's okay. Just bow out of this superhero game. Just like, let Marvel have it. License the character.
Tap out, please.
Now that's gonna happen.
It's gonna be the Batman and Robin of a new generation. Like, whew, that was good.
Like, I mean, I would have loved him to have an accent just so it's like everybody can remember the accent that Kraven had. It just said it couldn't have been good Russian. It's got to be horrible Russian accent so we can have jokes about it for years.
Aaron Taylor Johnson's too good to have a bad Russian accent. That would have made it seem remotely credible. I'm like, how did this Spider-Man cartoon of the 90s get Kraven's accent? And y'all can't be bothered to throw it in yours. Aaron Taylor Johnson had an accent as Pietro in Avengers. He didn't even need to have one. It was like, I'm just gonna do it because it makes more sense. For Kraven, I'm gonna just sound like I'm hanging out.
Yeah, that's his studio direction. Like, he's probably like, do you want me to like we don't want you to do like sound like Pietro, so it might confuse people. So we want you to just go with your regular voice and go with that.
Like bringing the heat.
That was an aroma that I can tolerate. Things the nostrils just a bit. It's a good.
It's my nostrils too. I was like, why? That's the only reason it says a writing review. I was like, gosh. And this was the click era. If it had anything less than 10,000 clicks, it was not going to be worth it.
Oh gosh.
82 from the 90s says, what's going on with the critics? I don't understand their opinions anymore. I'm a critic. I hope you agree with some of my opinions. Everyone's a critic, though. I mean, everybody has their opinion. I think they were just like, whatever, I got my opinion. And I think sometimes critics are just like, let me figure out the one movie that everyone loves so I can be the one voice that hates it. Yeah. People are going to come to my site and my YouTube or whatever. I think sometimes critics forget it's just their opinion, like everyone else. You're just spending more time talking and writing about it. And if you're really fortunate, you get paid to do it. But otherwise, you're not that special. It's okay. Ginger Diarrhea was in tears watching the Kraven trailer. I was so sad. I was just like, why can they just not get it?
Don't do it.
Morbius has been a joke since it came out. Like people are still making memes, and they're like, "Oh, people like Morbius. Let's put it back out." There's no, kid.
No.
Did you not understand why?
That wasn't a joke.
I don't know if you guys watched all of the trailer for Kraven. But did you see when they're trying to tease Rhino in there to make you really want to come in?
I think he got gored by a radioactive rhino.
It's like,
but instead of a rhino, it was the wrestler Rhino. And it's like, no, guys.
I was just like, you guys are trying. It's like, your Sinister Six universe is not happening. It's like, just like, unless, I mean, you can try and bring Michael Keaton in there to try and, hey, give us some credibility. It's just like, no, guys. It's not happening. Like, just let it go. Like, unless you say, hey, we're gonna work. The next Spider-Man movie is gonna be Spider-Man versus the Sinister Six, and we are working with Marvel. We're working through some scripts and gonna make that happen, so we don't have to do any origin. We just pop these characters in. Otherwise, just let it go.
I mean, they've got the Spider-Woman movie coming. I'm like, it's a Madam Web movie. No, he's asking for an Madam Web movie.
Now, they'll look right there.
Stop. Just stop.
All right, 80s Kids from the 90s is referring to Rotten Tomatoes. Since my reviews appear on Rotten Tomatoes, I'm going to buy out of this question. What do you guys think? What's up with critics? What's going on with them?
Critics are critics, man. Critics are going to have some whose opinions are paid for. I think some critics' opinions are paid for. Correct me if I'm wrong, Jeff.
Man, I wish I got paid for my opinion. That'd be awesome.
Because somebody had a good write-up for all of these trash movies that we just talked about. Somebody loved Joe Dirt, right? Some people, somebody out there wrote a good review for it. You know, it's what it is. Critics, some pay for, some people, it's like we said, Jeff said, it's opinion-based. I may like give me something shitty. The Matrix Resurrections, which I didn't, hated it. But I may like it. Somebody else may say this is a terrible movie, and somebody may say it's not terrible. I would watch it again, but it's all subjective to your opinion. That's what I believe.
Like, to me, I think it's more of it's a hive mind. Like, I think, like what I was saying, like on Marvel, it's like you've had critics in like studio heads. They've been waiting to get rid of these big giant action movies with CGI. They've been waiting, so it's like they're like, go bury them, and they don't have their period pieces where they're Oscar movies. You keep asking, why is the latest Marvel movie not in Best Picture? Well, we have this great Wes Anderson movie, Asteroid City, and we would love to pump up, but you keep asking us about Marvel and Fast and Furious. So now they can we can bury these movies because now there's a time, and there are more outlets. There are more. I think the best thing is whenever you get like Rotten Tomatoes, don't look at the aggregate. Find like 10 critics you actually appreciate their movies, not like the ones that this critic has never liked an action movie. So don't bother with I love action movies. I literally watched what is the daggone movie? I watched it was like not Geos. Almost watched Geostorm. I watched San Andreas because I like a good disaster movie. I knew this was not going to be a great movie, but
are you talking about the latest Gerard Butler movie?
Yeah, that was Geo Strong.
It was good. It was good. I liked it. It was fun.
Because I just rewatched Greenland, and I'm just like,
I'm sorry, Greenland. That was the one. Yeah.
I like again, go with somebody that likes the same kind of movies, so you at least can say, hey, everybody else might hate this, but I'm gonna trust these guys that I like and go with that. Because I think Jeff, you were one of the people who actually like what was it, Grown Ups too, and everybody thought you were like. They're like, it's just clickbait. It's like, guys, look at the movie and you can see why I like this movie. It's like,
dude, that right there.
This out.
That right there. I've never prescribed to what, and obviously because I like Joe, we're gonna go back to Joe Dirt because I like it. I don't care. I never prescribed to 2 thumbs up and who said what about the movie. I'm gonna go see it with an objective mind because listening to people, I wouldn't have saw Waterworld, and I like Waterworld. Listening to people, I wouldn't have saw Event Horizon, and I like Event Horizon. It's okay to like a movie everybody else doesn't like, you know.
Absolutely, including Joe Dirt. Blake has a question, and I need to get this answer for him because Blake wants to know what's the comic origin of Kraven. Kraven really doesn't have much of an origin. He is the brother of Chameleon. I just popped this up just to make sure I was right, not relying on my memory all the time. He didn't really have superpowers. He's just amazingly talented. He's a hunter, big game hunter, collects animals just for fun. He's got the whole lion pelt. He's strong. I mean, he's like doing his thing. And he loves this sport. So he comes to America to hunt and track down Spider-Man because I'm the greatest hunter there is. I'll take on Spider-Man. And then Spider-Man is like, who are you? And he gets beat because, they have to get these villains over. That's something they did back in the day. Stan Lee and Steve Ditko. They took the time, make the villains credible, because if you don't have credible villains the first time, nobody's going to care about them later. And then so he beats Spider-Man. Then Spider-Man overcomes, beats him. And then Kraven's like, oh, sure, Doc, I'll join him with you and your 4 other cronies, and we can all get Spider-Man. We'll be the Sinister Six. Great villain. His most infamous, most iconic storyline is, of course, where he kills Spider-Man, buries him alive, and he starts ingesting spiders to get the powers of the spider, buries Spider-Man, and then he was running around in the black and white suit. And awesome storyline. Mike Zeck drew it. Awesome looking comic book. It's called Kraven's Last Hunt. Really good read. Kraven's a great villain, and I don't think we're going to see any of that in this movie. What do I think of 65 without spoilers? Help me out with 65. I'm not sure what you're talking about right
now. I think Jovon saw it. This is 65 million BC.
With Adam Driver?
Oh, okay.
What was the question? Because I was looking at Kraven's outfit from the Wikipedia page.
That's what he rocks in the comic book. He is a big game hunter. It's a comic book. I hate this whole thing. Let's tone it down for make it more realistic.
My wife has those legs.
All right, so what do you think of 65?
It was decent. It was like Enemy Mine. It wasn't like the greatest sci-fi movie, but you got a Saturday afternoon with nothing going on, it's worth a watch. Like I said, not the greatest, but it's
at my age, that's every Saturday. Like, no, I have no plans. What movie am I watching? One movie that I watched this past weekend, though, was a movie I was very excited about. Let's get into it right now. Extraction 2. Oh my gosh, 3 times squared. This movie I wasn't ready for it. I liked the first Extraction. Thought it was good. It was like, when I'm going through, it's like, yeah, that was one of my favorite movies from that year that the first one came out. I think it was 2020.
It was pandemic. That's why I made it really.
Yeah, and it was like,
the Hemsworth movie?
Yeah.
Okay.
And this sequel, it basically starts out going, what's a good action movie that we can try to emulate and try to be just as good as with our sequel? You know what? Let's try to do our version of The Raid 2. And they have this incredible, it's like, they don't start right out. They actually take the time. It's like, hey, our hero is at the end of his life, basically, at the end of the first film. Let's explain how he gets back to Superman killing mode. And they take the time. It's like, okay, we're going to get there to some great action. And then when they do, it's like, oh my gosh, I wasn't ready for this action. They have this opening action sequence that's 12 or 21 minutes where it's just basically plays out like it's one take, where it's like, oh wow, this keeps getting better and better. Oh my goodness, what are y'all gonna do next? That's crazy. Oh wow. I mean, we get a prison riot scene just like the Raid 2. We get a train like Resident Evil 2, the video game action sequence. We get gunships. It is insane. I mean, we got flaming fists, literally flaming fists. Dude's arms on fire. He's like punching out dudes till his arm extinguishes by punching dudes in the face. Action's wild. Bro, I can keep talking about this forever, but I want you hear from you. What do you think about this movie?
Honestly, this is one of those movies I don't understand Netflix philosophy. I love a good action movie, but if I get the license for this movie, I want to put it out in theaters. This is a movie that actually can generate me some revenue, like not just because I can always take it back to streaming, but I can get this movie might have cost me, let's say, 75 million, because that one shot of camera probably isn't a giant amount of cameras where you got to film 20 things. It's like it's steady. It's not a whole bunch of takes. So it's like we can make a profit on this, take it back to Netflix exclusive. Because this movie is very much, it's very, like Jeff said, it very much ups the ante. Like the Raid 1 is cool, but then Raid 2 is like, oh, we got some money now. We can do the dang thing. And that's very much where this movie was. It's like we got this giant hospital set where we could actually do something. Then we got the prison set. And I'm just going with what Jeff said, because there's other scenes in this like later on that it's like, wait, you guys had this and all the helicopter. Your helicopter budget was massive. Like, oh yeah, this was old school 80s, 90s action movie. You watched this on a Saturday. I watched it at 1:00 in the morning. It was 3:30. I'm like, that's what I'm talking about. Like,
It was too high time to go to sleep.
Yeah, it's like, okay, now I gotta get you go get some water because I gotta get some. Yeah, but it's totally worth it if you haven't seen it. I mean, it's like, and the good thing is it's on Netflix, so you can, once we're actually done, you can easily press play on it and you'll have a ball.
Yeah, you're not gonna fall asleep on this. Blake says, yeah, that prison scene was reminiscent of the Daredevil old boy hallway scene. Oh man, I forgot about I need to rewatch the Daredevils, all the seasons of Daredevil. They were great, but that fight scene in Daredevil that first time, I was like, oh my goodness, someone gets how to do Daredevil. And it was so great. And yeah, that shot, I mean, it was just like you felt like you were on the ride with them in that hallway. Same with the Extraction 2 prison sequence. The whole breakout is just like, oh my goodness, what big thing after
that was like third person shooter. I mean, like, was because I just watched Doom and I'm like, when they did the first person shooter mode.
And Doom is like, another guilty pleasure.
Yeah, but it was very much like kind of like, yeah, this right here, that's where it should go.
Yeah. 80s Kids from the 90s wants to know, is anyone a fan of the film Last Action Hero? Yes. See, Arnold Schwarzenegger is an action guy. And when Arnold does action, I'm there. I'm signed up. I don't think a lot of people loved Escape Plan. I was like, Stallone, Schwarzenegger? Yes. I'm right there. Bring it to me.
We should have got it to like 30 years earlier, though. At least 20. At least 20.
I mean, I kind of like the charm of them being kind of bludgeon old tanks, probably.
I always remember it's like, when they were commanding at that point was stupid money. Like,
yeah, they would have been.
You can get Arnold Schwarzenegger on an action TV show with discounted price for 70-year-old Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Well, you know what, Jayce? That's the thing I didn't think about right there. At average, the big budget action movie in the 90s was what, 100 million? 100 million,
at least.
If that, and that was on the high end.
100 million was like stupid money, yeah.
That was stupid money. So they would have been 3/4 of the budget. They would have been 3/4 of the budget. I like Last Action Hero, but you know the kid kind of gets me. I hate the kid. I don't know why. I don't like the kid.
All right, listen. So I was curious. I wanted to check a look. Terminator 2, I think, is a film that we all agree has superior action and really great CGI. That had a budget of 94 million to 102 million estimate. That came out in 91. Yeah, so that was like real cutting edge. This is a really expensive movie. the budget, to give you a perspective on what people were spending on movies at the time, in 84, Terminator's budget, guess what it was? I feel like you guys gonna be shocked.
20 million.
No, I like this is cheap Arnold. Like he's just
No.
coming off the Olympia, so you're gotten. There's not much. Okay, you got the Terminator sequence, so I'm gonna give you
Not gonna be
23.
Well, you got the opening with the but that couldn't have cost a lot of money. That was prop. Like you could see the thing, the move with the what do you call it? You
Just a
see
little,
it.
all right, just move him on the train, move him on the track. Go.
That was 6.4 million.
$6 million.
That's why James Cameron made so much money. That Joker did Terminator on 6.4 million.
$6 million.
Yeah. That's why when you hear these budgets,
How much
movies
did
now,
the
like,
latest Avatar cost?
huh?
$1 billion. I mean,
Last
that-
one?
Get out of here.
it was
Billy?
it was like it was kind of, he said he had to make $1 billion to make a profit to get
Are
to
you talking about the sequel or the
The
first
sequel.
The latest one.
Latest sequel.
Let me try to find it. All right. The budget was between 350 to 460 million. It's one of the
Yikes.
most expensive films ever made. But it did gross over $2.2 billion. So,
Yeah,
Christ,
he was cool.
All right, you're saying the latest Avatar made that?
yeah,
Mhm.
Who watched this movie?
a lot of people.
I really want. I mean, I know where I can work around a lot of people, but I want to talk to them. Like, even though it's on like 2 of my streaming, I'm like,
I don't know anybody who saw this movie.
okay.
Clearly,
I don't.
somebody did. Somebody.
Like, I was asking around because I had a curiosity about it because I saw the first one and hated it, so I figured I could go and I could hate watch this movie. You know, I could hate watch the sequel. Why not? But nobody was like, "Yeah, I saw it." Nobody.
I can certainly hate watch the sequel, no problem.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so that was real interesting. I just want to see if there's anything else that we should talk about. Black Mirror kicked off a new season, and I have haven't finished, but I'm excited to see where that goes. Let's see here. Is there anything of any? The Flash is set for a 60% drop this coming weekend.
Oh,
There's already talk that Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse is going to take #1 again, which is shocking. But I mean, hey, people love that movie, so
I haven't seen that one either, so that's why I let it happen.
All right, let's see here. Is there anything else of any note? No, I think that's about it. All right, well, fellas, it's that magical time. Oh, Ace Kids from the 90s has an excellent question. Why is Disney making a Toy Story 5? Last I remember it was intended to end with 3, but wait, they ended it with 4. And Toy Story 3 was great. You're right.
we don't need any more. See, this is what I think is happening with Disney, man. That Pixar, what used to be their cash cow, has been farting out some really bad ones, and they just
Are
keep
you
coming back
implying
to
that
the well.
Are you implying that you were not a fan of Elemental, J. King?
I had no look. The trailer, the trailer was stupid. I don't want to. Why?
Like, because what is it? Pixar they were Strange World too, right?
Yeah, that was. I don't even want to get down that rabbit hole because
Yeah,
it
that
was.
that wasn't the way to go.
I don't want to offend anyone.
Yeah, but like they're like I was reading an article on like basically all the latest, like the last 3, like people had gotten used to watching Pixar movies at home, and then after the pandemic, it's like, well, you want me to go back in the theater when I could? That's why I paid Disney Plus. I mean, hey, that was Disney Premium? Like, send that back to me. That's more likely to get people with kids versus you having to rally the kids and hey, let's go watch a movie that is questionably good. Thank you for somebody. Thank you, Blake. Jeez.
I saw Avatar 2 and it had great looking underwater scenes. It looked like it did. And surprisingly, the theme of family was really highlighted in a world where I think they're trying to break down family. All right, you know what, Blake? You have sold me on this movie. I'm going to watch it over this weekend, and I figure it's going to be another 5-hour epic, but I'm going to carve out the time. I'm going to get a sun kiss, watch this movie. I feel like a lot of y'all are asking me about it. I'm gonna watch it this weekend so I can talk about it. I'm gonna be one of those people that you guys say I haven't watched, but I'm gonna watch it
Okay.
so I can talk about it.
We're gonna know 2 people that watch it. All right.
All right, there we go. Thank you, Blake. All right, well, fellas, it's that time now. Who are your nominees for Dummies of the Week?
Okay. Well, since I usually go first, I'm gonna just take it.
Hey, Jay, you know what? I'm gonna mix things up. I'm gonna let you go first.
Okay. So
from the 90s says Avatar 2 is amazing as well. So
my dummy of the week is all right. I like this guy. All right, guys. But my dummy of the week is the studio heads for not ending the writer's strike. I know I said that last week, but this week, Flash would have, I think, a lot of these blockbuster movies benefit wholeheartedly by the stars going on the late night shows and promoting, and so people can watch them on YouTube, even just to get hype and like, oh, this is a scene we really love, yada yada yada. They tell some funny story about, and that gets people in there. I think not having that, though, those things is really hurting the big blockbusters. I think not having that for like Fast and Furious, where you couldn't have all the guys on there and girls, you couldn't have the people from what was it, The Flash. I think even some of the voice actors from Elemental couldn't go on those shows and not get people hyped. It's hurting their box office, and I think they probably need to think like, wait, we actually used to have people do that for a reason, and maybe we're costing us money by not settling this writer strike. So they are still my dummy of the week this week again.
My dummy of the week is Warner Brothers for going, let's tell everybody these superhero movies don't matter, and then being shocked and surprised when people aren't going to flock the movie theater to see them. Flash went from being a projected $120 million film to $66 million. That was less than all these movies they proclaimed it was much better than. And it really brings all these people going, hey, what about Batgirl? Release Batgirl's trending, fire James Gunn and Peter Safran. These jokers have had zero to do with this current direction. They're getting blamed for something they didn't even do outside of saying it's amazing, go see it. But I mean, what is it supposed to do? Don't see these movies that are going to help continue build excitement for our brand. Warner Brothers need to just be like, listen, we're not going to tell anybody our plans. We're going to just drop. We're going to switch it. This is what I told you they should have done, bro. They should have made Flash the last movie after Aquaman, after Blue Beetle. Who cares about the marketing budget? You guys are going to lose a lot anyway. Just say, we don't know. Stay tuned. Then have Flash in the Snyderverse, any connection to any of those actors, any of that cast from those movies, and people are like, oh man, what are y'all gonna do next? Surprise, we got James Gunn and Peter Safran doing this thing. They go in that direction. I think people would be like, hey man, I'm looking forward to Shazam 2. I like the first one. I'm looking forward to Blue Beetle. I'm looking forward to Aquaman 2. Instead, you got people going, why? No, I'm good, thanks. Call me when it's 2025. So I get excited for Creature Commandos. J. King, what you got?
I got 2. I'm gonna start first with the Washington Wizards front office for trading Kristaps Porzingis for a bag of Doritos. It's like, look,
but stale Doritos,
stale open bag Doritos.
They open the bag and let it sit for a month.
Like in the bottom shelf of the pantry, right. In the bag.
Great Doritos.
And look if you're gonna tank, you should have did it last year when you could have got Victor Wembanyama. I'm just spitballing here. Jesus, man, they're just determined to fail. I've never seen a sports franchise this determined to fail. Whenever they get like an inch of success, they say,
just a little bit. Hey, Chris Webber, Juwan Howard, let's see what.
Let's trade our future for the Kings' past. Let's do that.
Hey, we got Gilbert Arenas. We got a new triple threat.
You know what? Let's have him and a teammate getting a gunfight. Let's have total anarchy on this team, and him and a teammate pull guns on each other in the team charter. Yeah, let's do that. I don't understand it. I don't understand why.
Hey, listen, Juwan said this a long time ago. No more bullets.
Because that was really hurting the image of the city. Yeah, the bullets.
That was hurting the image.
It's the crack. But, excuse me. Yeah, the front office is just doing a great job. Second, the Good Human Corporation. for eliminating two iconic ice cream offerings: the toasted almond bar and the Choco Taco. As a fat kid, I'll say this, as a former fat kid, now fat adult, I once punched a kid in the stomach for a Choco Taco. And it wasn't the only thing I punched a kid. I punched another kid in the stomach for a Ninja Turtle pie. I was not a nice child. I've grown a lot. I'm not that same kid, but I did that, right? Where am I going with this? But no, man, those are
No wrong with
iconic.
that.
I don't know. Those are iconic offerings, man. You don't eliminate the toasted almond bar. Eddie Murphy did a routine about get your father a toasted almond bar, the ice cream truck routine. It's an icon, man. Don't get rid
Why
of
are they
these
getting rid
things.
of him?
I don't know. They don't make it. They can't. China refuses to make them. Who knows? I don't know. Jeff.
Too much price.
They
Too
can't
much
be any
fructose
cheaper.
corn syrup.
Yeah, they may not be selling as well. You know, almond isn't a flavor that the kids are running out to grab. You know, who knows?
Indeed. All right. Well, hopefully we're still the flavor in your ear that you're rocking with and to be rocking with us next week. Thank you to everybody who was hanging out with us. Blake, 80s kid from the 90s, Digital Diarrhea, Stickman. Thank you for helping Jovon get that big laugh. Thank you all out there for watching and listening. This episode of Lyle's Movie Files has been filed.